Hey guys, how's it going? Matt coming to you with another JaYoe conversation. I'm actually on a job right now. I'm filming a series of videos for a friend of mine's factory. It's actually a friend of my wife. Bin Bin is the name of the company, and they make home decoration. I mean, they make lots and lots. I'll walk you around. I'll show you. So I sometimes do some commercial videos. So it's hi, my name's Matt, and this is Bin Bin. Let's take a look around and see what the 2021 designs for the 187th Canton Fair online is for, or something like that. And normally, vendors come from all over the world to go to the Canton Fair, look at different factories in China, and literally see everything that every factory makes. And then they say, I want 10,000 of these, I want 5,000 of these, I want blue ones of these for, X, Y, Z. They'll fill out orders. Back in the wild, wild west days of China, Annie used to tell me stories where people would walk in and sign purchase orders for millions of dollars, like at the show, and then they'd go home, and then the factory would start churning out the products. It's a bit different with today's economy and the way things go today. Every year, the Canton Fair gets a little bit less and less popular, and things are ordered online and take longer negotiating periods. But it used to be that if somebody came to China, it was really, really hard to travel to China and do all this business. There wasn't the internet, there wasn't anything. And so you came to China, you placed your orders, you handed over the cash, and then you went back to your home country and waited for it to come. But now, because the lines of communication are open between China and the West, much more than it used to be, it's a lot easier for companies to negotiate, spend more time in this process of coming to China and making sure I's are dotted and T's are crossed. That's not what the conversation about. The conversation actually is very suitable for where I am right now. The assumption that China makes shitty products. China's the trinket maker. Everything that comes out of China is shitty. And so I'm going to talk about that a little bit as my crew here sets up. They're setting up a next series of products that I'm going to have to do a talk about. They've got a bunch of new stuff coming out for 2021, and so hello. They're setting up for that. Actually, over here you can see this is the backside of the live shows, because the Canton Fair now can't have people coming into China as easily. It's like almost impossible. They still have to do the show, so now the show has to go online. So they do these live streams where they'll hold up a product and they'll show it and they'll say the price and the MOQ and all sorts of details. And people will be watching from all over the world, and they say, I like that, let me order that, inquire about that, and they can answer questions online. I'll do the intro for a lot of those segments. The next section of products we're going to go has a natural look that accentuates the 2020's desire to go green. And then, then they'll go into the live stream and then use me as an intro to that. Anyways, we'll walk around Bin Bin and we'll talk about cheap, shitty products made in China. I've been doing product sourcing and manufacturing in China for over a decade, since 2005, maybe before 2005. And when I first came to China, it was quite different than it is today. China changes on a regular basis. Every year, every 2 years, every 3 years, China becomes different, grown, matured. When I first came to China, things were made hastily. Things were made without as much regard for quality. And so China became known as the place to make cheap stuff, especially when you had Japan and Korea that had already capitalized on Western infrastructure and things like this, and they were making stuff that was much more high quality. But over time, and through repetition, and through pushing the boundaries, China started stepping up and making things with a little bit more attention to detail, especially with things like home decorations. It's a great example. My wife has been making picture frames, plastic picture frames in China for 30, 40 years. And when she shows me the frames that she used to sell way back in the day, the quality was just atrocious. The material was cheap, the frame molds were cheap, it was overall rough. Even the assembly was cheap. But over time, the quality improved. Now, you could still buy that cheap stuff. You would just pay a cheap price. But if you wanted to buy more expensive stuff, you paid a more expensive price. That sounds very, very logical. But I think a lot of people don't think that on the whole grand scheme of things. They think that cheap is cheap and that's all China makes. But there's a lot more to China than just cheap stuff these days. They make higher end decorations just as much as they would make lower end decorations. You know, as a manufacturer or a sourcing agent, when I used to be sort of a trading company where people would call me from the United States and I would try to find them products in China, they would tell me what price they wanted to hit. It was something that I would ask, how many do you want and what kind of price do you want to hit? Oftentimes they had the assumption that China would be way, way, way below what they would probably pay in the States. So they would always start with a price that was very, very low. And so I would find a product to match that price. China is versatile, so they were able to meet almost any price point. I'd find a product that would match that price point, I would send it to them, and they would say, "This is low quality dog shit." And I'd say, "The price you gave me was low quality dog shit price." And they'd say, "What do you mean?" I'd say, "Well, China can make whatever you want for whatever price you want, but there's a certain threshold based on quality, material, and design that no matter how low you go, the quality is going to be horrible." That was illuminating to a lot of my customers because they thought, well, China just makes cheap stuff. Find me the cheapest, best thing that you can find, and we'll order that. And so China earned this reputation for making cheap garbage, and through repetition of message, it's become the only product that China can make in the eyes of a lot of people in the West. The truth is quite different. If you still want to pay a higher price that would be less than the price that you might pay in the West, but still high according to your standards, you'll get a higher quality product. I was in a mall yesterday and I was walking past a bunch of cars that were made here in China. Fantastic quality products. Huawei, they make phones on the 5G network that would compete with companies like Apple. And even companies like Apple, those products are made and assembled in a lot of cases, for the large part, here in China, unless they're printed that say assembled in the USA. And when they say assembled in the USA, that's an indication that they were actually manufactured here in China, so the base components were made here. So I get a lot of comments on my videos saying, you know, that's the cheap shit from China, and that cannot be, well, I would say farther from the truth. It's true, you can buy the cheap shit if you want, but the opportunity to buy expensive stuff and high quality stuff is as prevalent as it's ever been. And it all depends on what price you want to pay. I don't know. Sometimes I have a hard time trying to convince people that China is not the China that I moved to over a decade ago. China has developed, and along the way, their manufacturing ability has developed to be on par with South Korea or America or Japan. And it's only going to improve. And I think we do ourselves as Westerners a disservice when we don't upgrade our thinking about China to understand that they're catching up and moving past us at an accelerated rate. So the longer we regard them as the country that makes the shitty products, that made in China is a tarnished phrase, the longer we do ourselves a disservice and almost shoot ourselves in the foot. China is a powerhouse to be reckoned with. And the companies like Bin here, they are constantly innovating, constantly creating new products. Now, granted, these aren't microchips, these aren't, you know, processors, they're just home decoration. But if you look out this window, the next factory is making something else. And then in the next window, the next factory is making something else. And they've been making those things for the past 30, 40 years, and every day innovating and pushing the limits and trying to move into future markets. This place, Binbin, as a matter of fact, I've known since I've moved to China over 10 years ago. The amount of products they produce and the style of products they produce and the quality of products they produce have improved tenfold. Whereas when I first met Binbin, I might have decorated a small bathroom with a few of their decorations. Now I look around and I say, wow, there's a lot here that has not only high quality, but Western influence. That's the other thing. A lot of their stuff is built on the styles of the West. You know, when I first moved to China, one of the things I always was frustrated with on my original orders was beating through the cultural barrier. I'd order a coffee mug and I'd want to have a large 16 or 20 ounce coffee mug that would be suitable in America. So I'd ask for samples, and the coffee mugs that would come would be tiny, like almost teacup size. I remember getting a teacup size sample and calling the factory and saying, I'm looking for a coffee mug. And they said, yeah, this is what a coffee mug is, right? I'd say, no, like, this is a coffee mug. I mean, you know, that's what I'm looking for. And they would say, wow, that doesn't even make sense to me. That amount of liquid? How would some human even drink that much? And so you had this barrier of people that wouldn't even understand the style or the desires of the Western audience. And so how could they design a product that would fit with that style? Whereas today, they've been around. They know what everybody wants. And so when you ask them for a coffee mug, they send you stuff that you might find on a shelf in Starbucks anywhere in the world. It goes along with, you know, software and phones and any sort of products that you might ever find in China. Less and less you're disappointed, and more you're seeing the advancements of a society that has learned its lessons over time. Look out this window, it's kind of funny. I mean, that's like old China, you'd say. You know, we got some old buildings out there. But then you've got this factory that's being built that's going to be churning out some sort of new product. And so China more and more becomes a force to be reckoned with, and a force not to be taken lightly. Anyways, to the people that argue that China makes shit, yep, they do. Do they make expensive stuff too? Hell yeah. Do they make anything in between? For sure. They can make whatever you want at whatever price you want, and it's on a sliding scale. So the next time you think that China is still the country that only makes shit, I hope you reconsider, because you reconsider at your own detriment. I think that China is our adversary, and that can be a healthy thing, a healthy competition. But the moment you take your adversary for granted is the moment they overtake you. And I don't think there's a reason for China to overtake America. I think it'd be nicer if we just had a healthy competition and weren't throwing mud at each other. So appreciate China for what they've become, not for what they were, and let's continue a friendship that succeeds mutually and that grows mutually under a mutual respectful competition. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, I got to get back to work, record a bunch more voiceovers for Binbin. Welcome to Binbin. No, it's Binbin in Arts and Crafts. Welcome to Binbin Arts and Crafts. Today we're going to take a look at their Africa collection. They got a million collections here. Anyways, I'll be here for a couple more hours. I just figured I'd record a little bit, because it really does bug me when people say China just makes shit. It's like, they make everything. Oh, if you like these conversations, please share this or subscribe to the channel if you hadn't already. I have a Patreon where I do audio podcast conversations that you get to see those, which are exclusive to Patreon. Nobody else gets to hear them. Also, videos are displayed on my Patreon before they're put on the channel. And I have a bunch of cool stuff planned. I have a bunch of travel stuff planned. So look forward to spending more time with you guys, and you guys can kind of see my life while while I'm in China. So thanks again, JaYoe. Take it easy, be safe, and wear your mask if you're in a place that requires it. China, we're doing pretty good. No need to wear a mask in Ningbo right now, but who knows? It could change tomorrow. Take it easy, guys. JaYoe. Take it easy, guys. JaYoe. Bye-bye.